It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, gonna rock and roll. Riding on the highway, going to a show. Stopping on the byway, playing rock and roll. Getting round, getting stoned, getting beat up, getting boned, getting high, getting shook. I'll show you folks, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's easy to do one night stands. Try being a rock and roll band. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Reif, and welcome back to another installment of the 2007 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. We're here from Miami. It's race number 2 of 36 here from Homestead as we get set for the Radio Shack 400. Long race in front of us tonight as we get set to roll under some cloudy skies here in Miami. But Braden joining me in the booth tonight as we take you to your starting lineup for tonight's race. Starting on pole for today, it's Kevin Harvick in the 20 car, taking his first pole of the new season. Brad Keselowski in the 2, the rookie, joining him on the front row, one of the most proficient in qualifying we've seen in a long time. He puts himself in second. Ryan Newman will be starting third in the 38 car, and Ricky Hendrick puts himself P4 in the number 5. Fifth place, rounding out the top 5, will be Jason Leffler, and John Andretti in the 21 starts in the 6th position. 7th place goes to Kyle Busch's number 43, and Tony Stewart will be in the 8th position. 9th place is older brother Kurt in the 01 car right behind his brother Kyle. He sits in P9. 10th goes to Robbie Gordon, the defending champion. Rounding out your top 10, DJ Kennington starts this race in 11th, and Martin Truex Jr. rounds out the 6th row in 12th. 13th place, that'll be Jeff Gordon in the 24. Scott Wimber will be in the 14th position here today. Jeremy Mayfield, P15 in the 54 machine, and Casey Kane in the 16th spot. 17th goes to Jimmy Johnson's number 48, and Eric Norris in ice qualifying. He's in the 18th position. 19th is going to be Carl Edwards, and Todd Bodine rounds out the 10th row in P number 20. 21st, that's going to be Jeff Burton, and Greg Biffle will be in the 22nd spot. 23rd is going to be Justin Allgaier, and J.J. Yaley, one of the rookies in this field, 24th place. 25th, Scott Riggs in the 57, right behind his teammate who's in 24th. 26th goes to Elliott Sadler. 27th, that'll be Dale Earnhardt Jr., and another Red Bull car right behind his teammate. That's Juan Pablo Montoya in 28th. 29th is going to be Mike McLaughlin in the 26th machine. Jamie McMurray will be in P number 30. Bobby Labonte in the 31st spot. And Shane Meal making his Cup Series debut this weekend. He's in 32nd. Ashton Lewis Jr. in the 06. 36, that's No Fear Racing, making his Cup Series debut as well, starting in the 33rd position. 34th goes to David Ruderman. And 35th place, that'll be Casey Mears, joined by Ryan McGlynn in that row. He's in the 07 as always. Matt Kenseth, P37 for Roush Racing. Casey Atwood with him in 38th. Brian Vickers from the 39th position. And Marcos Ambrose in P40, making his first start in the Cup Series as well. 41st, that's Clint Boyer in the number 4 car, and rounding out the field, it'll be Jacques Villeneuve in the 49 for BAM Racing. 42 car field as always, here from Homestead, it's the Radio Shack 400. We take you to the racetrack for the most famous words in motorsports, the Command, here from Miami.
Drivers, start your engines!
Field roars to life as we get set to roll here in Homestead. Second race of the season, second straight in Florida, as the pace car will roll the field off onto the pace lap here. Harvick and Keselowski, your front row for today's race, and all that yet to come. First intermediate of the season. First real chance for these guys to shake down these new cars on one of the more intensive tracks and really get to see where their equipment's at this year.
And we also get to kind of see how these drivers are more settled in. This race is a lot more, it's the real start to the season for a lot of these teams. Daytona, it's a bit of a casino, a bit of a lottery as to who wins. This is where you start to see which teams are good and which teams are lucky.
Absolutely, and of course with a new car, it's always a learning experience at a racetrack like this. You want to figure out where you're at, what the car drives like. We've gotten so much testing, but only so much testing can tell you where you're going to be at in a race like this, in a real race setting. And with these guys giving 110%, this is where you're really going to see the money made. Pace car is going to peel off here to lead this field to this 81-lap race here in Miami. We start the real portion of the season and end it at this racetrack. That's a long way from now. Race number 2 of 2007, ready to get underway. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski on the front row lead us to the green flag, and we are underway here from Homestead. Leaving turn 4 for the first time here today, Kevin Harvick leads the opening lap from the pole. Ryan Newman moves to second place as they head down the front stretch and into turn number 1. Right on the back bumper is the 38, 3 wide for third. Kyle Busch in the 43 looking to the bottom.
And you see how racy they're being. When these guys did their mile-and-a-half testing for the Gen 5, you didn't see it at Homestead. They did most of their testing at Charlotte. Charlotte is a very different animal than Homestead. It's one of the more unique tracks on the circuit, in fact. So most of the data for Charlotte doesn't particularly translate very well. So a lot of these teams are operating from effectively an empty notebook. Every lap is just another data point.
Caution flag is out. Casey Mears wrecking in turn 2. Accident involving McMurray. Believe Meal was involved in it as well in the 47 car, and we are under yellow for the first time here today. Sorry to cut you off there, but lap number 4 as we take this yellow flag. Harvick retains the lead. Get a look back at this incident taking place in turn number 1 and 2 with the State Farm 55 backing it into the outside wall. Looking like 4 wide as Greg Biffle and Kenseth kind of sandwiched the 55, looking like the 16 wanted to head to the middle there. Mears was getting underneath him. Both him and the 17 went pretty hard into the corner. Biffle couldn't get off of him. Pinned him into Kenseth and into the outside wall and collected McMurray's number 40 as well.
That's something that we've been seeing a lot in testing. These Gen 5 cars they're a little bit wider than the Gen 4 car. Not by a lot, but by enough to where certain moves that you could probably get away with in the old car, you just can't in these.
And of course, 4 wide pretty much into the corner there. Definitely wasn't going to work for Mears, and he goes for a spin. Most of the leaders going to head down pit road. Kevin Harvick leads them in. Kurt Busch, Daytona 500 winner, is going to stay out to inherit the first position on the racetrack as Kevin Harvick into his pit box from first.
believe that is the 40 of Jamie McMurray coming out first.
I do believe that 40 car actually fell a lap down. That was damage repairs for him. You saw him get involved in that accident, so he is going to be a lap down. Obviously no free pass given the fact that he lost that lap under this yellow flag. Harvick leaving the pit lane in first. Mostly fuel only. We see a couple cars take tires. Number 10 of JJ Yaley is one of them. Just a couple of drivers on tires, but the majority of these guys took fuel only. But Kurt Busch's number 01 leads this race. Lap number 5 will take it to a quick first intermission here from Homestead. Back from intermission here at Homestead as we get set to go green. Kurt Busch's number 01 in the lead. A couple of Dodges sit at the front of the field. 01 and 54, first and second. Jimmy Johnson will start in third. Outside pole sitter Keselowski, P4. And Mike McLaughlin moves up in the running order. He's in P5 as we get set to go green. Lap number 8 for the 01 car as he takes the restart this time. Further back in the field, obviously the pitters that came in to top off on fuel, mostly fuel only. Number 10 of JJ Yaley was pretty much the only one that took tires on that pit stop, but Kevin Harvick, the initial race leader, will restart in the 15th spot as Kurt Busch looks to lead the field off of turn number 4 here. Pace car going to peel into pit lane as the 01 Daytona 500 winner going to take the green flag on lap number 8 into the restart box, and we are back underway here from Miami. Good start for the top 2 as Johnson caught sleeping a little bit. Couple of Dodges get away from him on the restart. Headed through turns 1 and 2 and back up to speed. Top 6, 7, 8, and 9 single file. 9th place Riggs got filtered out on the start there, jumped up to the outside and loses a couple positions. Marcos Ambrose is going to jump underneath of him. Kevin Harvick and Jason Leffler, a couple of drivers that were in the pit lane looking to pick up spots early off the restart. Mayfield thought about getting the lead from Busch, couldn't do it. Instead, it's Keselowski looking for P2, couldn't make that move stick either. Top 6 still under a blanket as they leave turn 2 this time. Ooh, close between 54 and 2. Keselowski going to try to take second away from the 54, and he's going to manage it. McLaughlin trying to follow through on the bottom as the rookie Keselowski into second place. Obviously not quite a rookie by true definition, that 2 car having made some starts last season along with Kennington's number 81, who we haven't seen at the front of the field yet today. But first full season in Cup for the 2, and he's right away going to try to get the lead here from Kurt Busch. Side by side for first in 3 and 4.
But can he make it stick?
Busch with the knot at the line. 01 in front of him going into turn 1, trying to fend on the outside. Keselowski still trying to get that lead from the 01. Has the nose ahead down turn 2, still even down the backstretch.
This track is notorious for being difficult to pass for the lead.
Keselowski is going to make it work, and the 2 takes the lead. Lap number 11 taking lap 12. Mayfield with a run on Busch for second. Thinking about getting underneath him. Very close between the 54 and 01 going into turn 1. Mayfield's got the nod over his fellow Dodge as they head down the back. Might have a challenge at Keselowski for first. Truex might take it 3 wide. Keselowski tried to block Mayfield. Another close call. 54 going to try to take the lead off of turn number 4, and he's got it. Mayfield, couple of spots made up in 1 lap. Now he's got the lead.
Now, something that Mayfield's been talking about is that he wants to be able to have a good enough season to be able to stick in the 54 car for a while. He's been bouncing around team to team to team to team to team in the garage. A win today would really help his case.
Absolutely. Keselowski not making it easy on him, though, as the 2 retakes the lead. Greg Biffle making his appearance at the front. The Roush car is looking strong early. 16 winner of the championship finale last season. Ford Championship Weekend 500 that he won over the 4 and 23. Another good run for that 16 at this racetrack. He sits in 4th, right behind Martin Truex Jr.
Wasn't Greg Biffle mired in the 30s just like 10 laps ago?
Would be Matt Kenseth's number 17 who was stuck back there further in the pack, though. That 16 car was pretty deep in the field before pit stops shook everything up. He was 27th when they took that yellow flag, so a fantastic start for him, and taking advantage of the track position, he moves into 3rd, Mayfield down to 5th, might fall to 6th if McLaughlin can stick a move underneath the 54 here, and he will. Good run for that 26.
Some very ambitious moves here.
Absolutely, these guys definitely have a lot of confidence despite the unknown with this race car. Scott Wimmer, another driver who had a good race last time out at Miami, finished in the 3rd position in the Ford 500 last season in 2006. Off to a good start here. Moves into the 6th position. Kurt Busch looking to try to get underneath of him, and Harvick, who has steadily climbed throughout the field since the pit stop. No fresh tires on that 20, as we mentioned, but he is looking quick and moves back into the top 10 now.
One very important difference, though, between the old Gen 4s and these new Gen 5s is the Gen 4s had a valence on the front. These cars have a splitter on the front, and that splitter generates quite a bit more front downforce than the valence did. This was counteracted with less rear downforce, but these cars have a lot more forward grip, and are just, in general, looser. Which is probably why you're seeing these more ambitious pass attempts.
Battle for the lead. Keselowski and Truex as the 28's going to get underneath. And Keselowski holds him off on the outside, so the 2 continues to lead this race. We talk about that, absolutely. NASCAR tested a lot of different variations on the front of the race car. Bigger and smaller splitters, eventually settled on the one that we have on these cars now that is about 1 inch or 2 thick, that sticks out of the front of the car. Maybe a little bit more than that from the front, but of course, we also tested a completely different front end on these race cars. Was briefly tested with... It was a splitter brace and a much, much longer splitter that was very, very long and had braces similar to that you'd see on like GT cars and sort of more road-oriented race cars. Eventually settled on the smoother front end that we see on these cars, as Matt Kenseth's number 17 takes the lead away from Keselowski. Battling with Kurt Busch for that spot now as we start lap number 20. But they tested a lot on these race cars. This Gen 5 changed a lot over the course of testing. So many different variations, and they, of course, gave these teams a lot of time to test the final version that they settled on, that we see racing in the Cup Series now in points conditions. But it's been a long, long road of development for this car, and NASCAR and the teams especially really seem pleased with what they've came up with. And, of course, it's been a lot of fun to watch these drivers get used to it, as Kurt Busch in the 01 once again retaking the race lead. But these race cars are new and exciting, and they seem to have gone over well with both the drivers and the team owners alike.
Yeah, something that a lot of the drivers have said about the Gen 5 is that these cars are a lot more driver-oriented. Driver skill and driver input seems to matter significantly more with these cars. With how aero-dependent the Gen 4 had gotten at the end of its life cycle, it was looking more and more and more like the race was not won on the track and more won in the wind tunnel room. So I'm sure a lot of these drivers out here are very happy, and they've stated that they're very happy, that it's a lot more in the driver's hands.
And we've seen a lot more variation in the timing charts between these guys and the different drivers who have ran up front, as the 55 and 40 were both just pulled off the track for minimum speed that last time. But we see these guys really just a lot of variation at the front of the field. It depends on the driver and the track. And we see these guys, Mike McLaughlin, of course, in that 26, having a fabulous run right now in the top 5. As Robbie Gordon, defending Cup champion, is trying to take away second place, having himself a good run in the middle portion of this race. And Kurt Busch, of course, with a very, very strong car in the 01 to open up here today. And after taking the lead, thanks to the pit stops under yellow, has not relinquished it for long, looking like he's got one of the better cars in the field here today. Kevin Harvick's number 20. Moving back into the top 5, mentioned him in the top 10 earlier. Kennington in the 81 making an appearance. Kane cutting through the field as well. Jimmy Johnson in the top 10. And seeing a lot of comers and goers, it is just this churn that continues throughout the field, but most of these fastest cars have retained their front running positions. Track position, of course, very important, and you want to be as far up in front as you can get, especially for the pit cycles. Getting onto pit road at Miami is really difficult, and we'll see these guys struggle to do it. It's harder here than it is at most intermediates to get onto the pit lane, and we see these guys get into tailbacks, get into trouble trying to get on the pit road, and as this race continues, you start to think about it just a little bit.
I believe the only pit road entry, the only oval pit road entry that's more difficult on the circuit is probably Indianapolis or Las Vegas.
Absolutely, and it is going to be a big consideration for these drivers when they want to get onto pit road, but a long time until we get there, as Harvick and Biffle getting a little close there for third place. Robbie Gordon trying to close up on the 01 of Kurt Busch for the lead. And he's going to duck underneath, headed towards turn number 3. Saw a lot of these two last year. And trying to get after one another for the first spot. A couple of cars running high. And we're going to see some pitters here. Thought it was longer off, but for the guys who stayed out under that last caution, Keselowski leading a group in on lap number 27. See a bit of debris collected on the outside. Believe some drivers made contact after getting around the drivers coming into pit lane. Gonna get a look at exactly where that came from. Believe it was the 18 and number 8, Jeff Burton and Bobby Labonte, who just about got into each other. Number 8 had a pretty big run on Labonte, but Labonte blocked him into the fence. Tight between those two, but more gonna come down pit road as Kurt Busch, the race leader, ducks into the pits, and Robbie Gordon's number 31 out front here on lap number 29. And you'll see these drivers who made the pit stop under yellow make it just a little bit further. About 5 or 6 extra laps for these guys after coming in on lap 5 under yellow.
Think about that, the 5 or 6 extra laps, when you're talking about a fuel run of 20, 25, 28 laps, you might be able to, that might be the difference between taking 4 tires and taking 2, or taking 2 tires and not taking any.
For sure, it could pile up at the end of the race. We'll see how it goes for these guys. Gordon and Harvick still first and second. Kane moved into the top 5 thanks to the pit cycles. Kennington and Newman also members of this strategy, as is the 42 of Tony Stewart. And we're going to see a couple head down pit road. Top 3 all duck in. Gordon, Harvick, and Kane. DJ Kennington's number 81 to the front of the field, and we're going to see a lot of that this year. But on strategy right now, one of the drivers who's been a member of the top 10 for a significant portion of today's race. He leads his first lap of the day. Newman
leads at the first lap of the season? Did he lead a lap at Daytona?
Do not believe that 81 car did lead a lap at Daytona, no, but he might have. My memory fails me. But Kennington will bring it to the pit lane this time. Stewart and Sadler in as well. Kyle Busch, number 30. Number 02 of Justin Allgaier making his second start in the Cup Series here today, part-time. Shane Meal on his debut in. Greg Biffle appears to have won out of pit road ahead of the 01 of Kurt Busch. So he could be the net leader here. We'll see how it goes for the 20 and the 31. As they begin to get off of pit road. I do believe Robbie Gordon had made an overtake on not Kevin Harvick, on Kurt Busch for the lead before the pit cycles began, but 16 of Biffle round the outside. Always a professional at this racetrack, and the 16 has the lead. So Greg Biffle out to first place. Kurt Busch, McLaughlin, Gordon, and Harvick for the moment, your top 5. Jimmy Johnson trying to maybe grab that 5th spot from Harvick, see if any of the other drivers who were on pit lane join in the top 5. Do not believe they will, as Kennington gets back on the track. Going to be tight here. Robbie Gordon trying to get around him on the outside, so Kennington on the colder tires trying to get warmed up, stay in front of his teammate. Jimmy Johnson actually going to fly past the 20 of Kevin Harvick on the bottom. Kennington in
But
fifth
another
for the
thing
moment.
to note is that those drivers on the longer strategy are also going to have fresher tires at the later stage of the race.
Absolutely worth mentioning. So Robbie Gordon and Kevin Harvick, as well as Kennington's number 81, Newman and Kane. Several drivers, members of this group that are going to have fresher stuff, especially on this run. Going to try and run these leaders back down, but Greg Biffle comfortably in the lead over Kurt Busch in the 01 car right now. These top 3, a little bit of a ways in front of Robbie Gordon, who sits 4th. Jimmy Johnson moved into the 5th position. Clint Boyer with a solid run now into the top 10. Got all 3 Yates cars right behind him, 10th through 12th. As Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to get underneath the 4. Truex Jr.'s number 28 and Ryan Newman's number 38 right in tow behind the teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. And this race continues to wind away. Kurt Busch closing in on Biffle for the lead.
I believe Junior is the only returning face in that Yates organization.
That would be correct. 28 of Mark Martin went into retirement. And the 38 of Kane, you see him in front of all the Yates cars right now, driving for Penske in the 12. Newman making the return to that team. Truex Jr., who made the move over to that team, as well as Ryan Newman, who swapped rides with Casey Kane, as those two one-for-one swapped, as we've mentioned a couple times, over speed weeks and now this week, as Newman went over to the 38 and Kane took over his ride in the 12. And Martin Truex Jr. in the 28, who drove the 8 for Richard Childress Racing last season. When he made that contract signing with Yates to drive the 28, that Napa Ford Taurus this year, said, I want to work with Dale Earnhardt Jr. These two incredibly close friends in the garage, and Truex wanted to be teammates with a good friend of his and learn a lot from Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has turned into one of the veterans of the series over the course of the last handful of years since 2000, and Truex wanted to learn from him, and again, wanted a familiar face in the garage with him, and made the move over to Yates, and seeming like a good opportunity for Truex, who is making his 2nd season in the Cup Series, in that number 28 car, 2nd full-time season for him. And it's off to a pretty good start, had a solid car, outside pole at the Daytona 500, got taken out of that race early, but off to a good race here today as well in the top 15, with a shot at the top 10, maybe a top 5. And those Yates Fords looking pretty solid in today's race. Approaching halfway here from the Radio Shack 400 as Kurt Busch in the 01 retaking the race lead. Got a dominant Target Dodge underneath him tonight. Battle for the 3rd and maybe more. It will be more as Kennington going to follow through with Robbie Gordon's number 31. The 81 car moves into the 5th spot. P4. 5th will now belong to Kevin Harvick. And Casey Kane also follows the 20. Jimmy Johnson might have a chance to get past his 26, who is really just hemorrhaging spots on that outside. Top lane not really working right now. We see it work sometimes at this racetrack, but right now on this run, at the very least in turns 3 and 4, as McLaughlin did work it there in 1 and 2. Little bit sketch on that outside at the moment.
Something to really note about that 26 team is that a very big point of emphasis that team owner Larry Carter had was getting the super speedway package right. Well, I think we'll let you be the judge of that.
Top 10
You think
run
he
for
did a
that
good
26, yeah. Absolutely, I do think they got it right. And McLaughlin, after having a rough go around at Daytona, got involved in 3 separate incidents that you, the fan, can decide if were his fault or not. That 26 car off to a heater of a race here in Miami, and a top 10 run out of that 26 would be fabulous after the last couple seasons it had been for Haas Carter, and that alliance with Petty really off to a good start with them, and off in this race looking like they've got a competitive Dodge Charger underneath them. Battle for second, Greg Biffle and DJ Kennington, 81 and 16 side by side for P2. And just nothing you can say about this kid, DJ Kennington, who already had 2 Cup wins to his name last year, and off to a very, very good top 5 run here today. Might have a shot at the lead with Kurt Busch right up the road in front of him. Going to think about getting to the bottom, but Busch will cover him off. And for Kennington, who you talk about getting ready for the Cup Series, and of course we've mentioned this season that with the new car, it's a better time now to be a rookie in the Cup Series than ever, getting used to this race car when everybody in the garage is getting used to this race car. But for Kennington, you really don't need to think about getting ready. The 81 team, Kennington, has been off to a absolutely fantastic start in his Cup career. Had a season that we calculated over the course of the year. Kennington had scored his average points that he scored over the course of his about half year in the Cup Series in the 81 over the course of that season. Would have put him in the championship 4th. It was a fantastic run for him in Cup. 2 wins to his name, as we mentioned, and one of the best prospects we've ever seen. And the approaching 30-year-old DJ Kennington is off to a fantastic start in his Cup Series career here in the United States, and now going for the lead versus Kurt Busch.
And DJ Kennington has just been bad fast in any race car he's suited up for. Need to remind you, in 2006, when he suited up for a brand new Haas CNC team to attempt the Indy 500, qualified the thing in the top 25, and managed to get a P6 out of it and win the Indy 500 Rookie of the Year.
It was a fantastic showing for him, and he now has the lead in today's race. Robbie Gordon, number 31, going to follow him on through to second. Casey Kane moves to third as Kurt Busch drops to the 4th position. Kevin Harvick still rounding out your top 5. Greg Biffle rounds out this pack as the top 6 have pulled away just a little bit. Casey Kane going to try to get second here from Robbie Gordon. Side by side between these two behind the 81, who's looking to try and pull away. But Kane, quick work of that 31 again, top side. Not really seeming like it's working for these guys in 3 and 4. A little bit better in 1 and 2 at the moment, but the outside, usually a good line to run at this racetrack. Not really seeming like there's a lot of grip up there in 3 and 4 right now.
Not really.
Ooh. Robbie
And you'll
Gordon
probably
gonna throw a
see
big
something.
block.
You'll probably see something similar at a lot of tracks. Like I said, with the reduced rear downforce, the increased front downforce, this car is going to be a whole lot looser on the throttle, which is going to make it harder to power around the outside.
Absolutely. That outside lane, of course, it's all about the throttle on the top. You want to be able to beat the guy on the bottom back to the gas, and with there being just a touch less downforce on the rear, these cars are a lot more symmetrical than they were compared to the later years of the Gen 4. So it's just a little bit of a struggle to try and find a rear downforce. You don't want to have that rear angle up too much and over-drag your race car. We've already talked about it in Speed Weeks that these cars are significantly more draggy than the cars in the end of the Gen 4 were, and the Gen 4 in general. These cars are built kind of like a brick, these guys have said. They are not very aerodynamic. They do produce a fair amount of downforce, but there's a lot of drag on them as well, so the draft's a little more important. It's a little bit more difficult to corner and handle it because of the extra drag, and they're a little bit slower in a straight line, but of course, a little bit faster in the corners. Robbie Gordon in the 31 battling with Kennington for the lead. Didn't quite have the top spot at the stripe that time, but Kennington up on the top. Robbie Gordon on the bottom. 81 with a little bit of a better exit. Again, we've been talking about 1 and 2. The top has worked just a little bit better, and Kennington stays clear in the lead. Kane trying to force his way down to the bottom going into turn 3. Does get his nose underneath. Gordon trying to stick it on the outside. Kane a little bit better on the bottom. Draft for the 31 down the front. 30 laps to go in Miami. Kane keeps it on the bottom and looking to take away the second position, and he just about will have it leaving turn 2, though Gordon's sticking with him on the top. And that time, Kane will be able to block him off the corner and takes away second once more.
Believe we have a lap car. Believe they're approaching a lap car.
The Jacques Villeneuve's number 49, who appears to have had a very rough pit stop, is a long way from the next car, 39th place. That's Ashton Lewis Jr. in the 06. So Villeneuve's number 49 for BAM Racing. Significantly off of the next cars up in front, so will be a lapper for the leader, DJ Kennington, and the rest of this top 5 as they have left Greg Biffle in the dust. Earnhardt Jr. and Ryan Newman, the Yates duo, have slowly picked up time over the course of this run. Looking good on the long run are these Fords, although obviously Biffle dropped off in the front group. Jr. and Newman picked up a couple of spots and found themselves in the dead zone.
I believe we should be expecting some pit stops here pretty soon.
Not too terribly long from now, approaching that fuel run of about 27, 28 laps. These guys usually go on these intermediates. Harvick behind this side-by-side battle of Kurt Busch and Robbie Gordon for third. Kane and Kennington have pulled away significantly thanks to this side-by-side battle. Busch in front of the 31, though Gordon a big run on the outside coming out of turn 2. Busch trying to block. Will get in front of the 31, might open the door for Harvick on the bottom, see if he sends it up the inside. He does. So Harvick passes the both of them and moves into third. Kennington getting around the lap car, the 49 of Villeneuve. And he will do exactly that in turns 1 and 2. First car a lap down in today's race. Number 4 of Clint Boyer. We do see pitters on lap number 55 taking 56. Just a couple on the undercut. Boyer, one of them, one of the drivers who is running in the back end of the top 10. So he pits. Kurt Busch going to be the next taker as the 01 pits from P4. Biffle, Johnson, Keselowski, and Truex will follow, as our second round of green flag pit stops now begins. Right about at the point where you can make it to the end of this race from here, so these guys should be fine. And the caution flag is out.
Oh, this is a disaster for all the people that just came into pit.
Matt Kenseth's number 17. Kennington stays out and has the lead. Believe it was another incident for Matt Kenseth. And it was. Kenseth backwards in the wall. Man, looking like he just chased the number 8 of Jeff Burton down the racetrack and ended up getting himself wrecked. Number 77 of Todd Bodine was involved in that as well. Nowhere to go for him on the top. Believe this
looks like the 88. Yeah.
Jeff Burton really sent it up the inside on Kenseth going into turn 3, and the 17 looking like he chased Jeff Burton all the way down the racetrack going into turn 1 and turned them all right into the outside wall.
I mean, what that looks like is about 6 months worth of pent-up anger right there. I'm sure someone's gonna have a conversation about that.
DJ Kennington going to lead the race leaders into pit lane here on lap number 59 as everybody in for 4 tires and fuel, just outside 20 laps to go. And off the jack and away as a couple of cars. John Andretti, believe he took 2 tires there. No fuel only for the number 21. So winner off of pit road was actually going to be the 02 of Justin Allgaier. All these cars still on the racetrack, of course, are going to be wave-around cars in front of the leaders. And Allgaier, winner of the Busch race on Saturday, takes the race lead. See if that was the right call for them. Might have had some issues with equipment. But we will see. Ticket intermission here from Miami. 02, at least for the moment, in the race lead. Back from intermission here at Miami, as Justin Allgaier will be the race leader on the restart. Him and John Andretti on no tires, whereas the 21 and 02. DJ Kennington in the 81. First car on tire, sits in third, was the previous race leader. Ricky Hendrick, worth noting, blew up under that yellow flag, and he is out of this race. And Matt Kenseth in the 17 is going to be parked from this race by NASCAR. Would not expect him to be given a suspension after this race, but he will be taken out of this one and be called to the hauler. But Allgaier will lead the field to the green. 20 laps to go, as the 02 and 21 going to try and hold on older stuff here. Pace car in on the left, 02-21, leading the field to the green, and we get back underway into the restart box, and Allgaier is away. Good start for Kennington from third as we race down towards turn 1.
Question 1, how much do tires matter here?
Not an insignificant amount. In fact, that never really happens at any track. These tires are 20 laps old for these guys, so this is going to be interesting to see. Up the racetrack goes Kennington, trying to go to the top, and the two leaders who stayed out, or at least took fuel only, are going to come to pit road from the lead.
Oh, brother.
Kenseth also retiring from the race behind. DJ Kennington takes the lead away. That is a rough call for the 02 and 21 that take them entirely out of this race. Kennington now to the front, contending with Kane's number 12. Side by side for the lead. Everybody appears to have sorted it out in the back. Kane's got the lead at the line, side by side between the 81 and 12. See if Kennington can hang it around the top. Kane gonna clear him. 12 to the lead down the back stretch. Robbie Gordon trying to take away second from the rookie 81. Ryan Newman enters the fray from P4. Kurt Busch rounds out your top 5. Robbie Gordon, big run on the bottom, out of turn 4. Now he tries to take the lead. Kane's got the draft help on the top. A little bit of an arrow push. Keeps him clear. Still side by side for second. Kennington trying to fight on the top. Newman looking to try to take third. Robbie Gordon real close for the lead. Almost contact. Might have been some. Kane trying to power around the top. Still holds on to first, but Robbie Gordon clear for second. That was a close call.
I don't think there's anyone in this front group that isn't using every ounce of stuff that car's got.
Gordon almost. I do not believe they made contact, but it was pretty close. 31 moves to P2. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get underneath of his teammate Newman for 4th place. Mike McLaughlin continuing this monster run of a race for him with a shot at the top 5. He currently sits in 6th in front of Kurt Busch's number 01 car. Down the backstretch, top 5 breakaway. Newman again trying to get underneath for P3. Dives it in, contact between Kennington and Newman. Up the track, they saved it. Through goes the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. What a save by DJ Kennington.
Excellent save by both drivers, really, there.
Unbelievable. Get a look back at the contact between the 81 and 38 as Newman dove it up the inside. Got right into the corner of him, and teammate Earnhardt Jr. slipped right past those two. And you gotta imagine that 81 car is furious with that 38, but he is well out in front of him now. Almost got underneath the 38's teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 3rd, couldn't do it. Little bit of push in on that left rear fender of that 81 car. Newman falling backwards with damage on the right front. I just have no idea how Kennington held on to that race car. Nearing 10 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. entering the mix for the win. This top 5 have broken away. Gordon, big run out of 2. to the back bumper of Kane, trying to take the lead away once more. Kane on the top. No grip on the outside. We've talked about it all day in 3 and 4. Couldn't hold it with him. Robbie Gordon's got the lead. Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. for second. All these drivers eyeing the win. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to win his first race since 2002. Thought that he got robbed of the Daytona 500 this year. Had such an unbelievably fast car. Got damaged with an incident on pit road with the 26. 10 laps to go at Miami. Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to take the lead. Couldn't hang with him. 31 holds first. That 26 car, McLaughlin, has begun to fall backwards like a rock. Saw him way back there on the flyby. Has now fallen almost outside the top 20. Another solid run by that 07. Keselowski trying to recover a day gone bad thanks to the pit stop woes with them that they had struggled on pit stops all day long, and that caution really didn't help him out. 01 of Kurt Busch moves into third. Earnhardt Jr. back down to fourth, trying to retake that spot, looking to dive underneath Kurt Busch into 3. He does. Really close between these two. We've seen these guys get so close on that entry to turn 3. Junior now has that spot back. Moves into P3. Harvick trying to take fourth. Top 2 have broken away just a little bit. Harvick so close to the back bumper of the 01. Couldn't stick with him. Kennington might try to attack his teammate for the 5th spot down the back stretch. Busch thought about doing the same to Junior that he did a lap prior. Thought better of it. Too far behind. Huge run by Casey Kane out of turn 4. Closes right back to the back bumper of Robbie Gordon, trying to go to the bottom for the lead.
But going into 1, that's not where you want to make a move.
Sticks behind him, might have a better shot down the backstretch. Another big run on corner exit, really nailing those exits as he leaves turn 2 with a run. Kane to the bottom of the 31, trying to take away first once more. Side by side between the 12 and the 31. Earnhardt Jr. lurking from 3rd place. Way better exit by Gordon.
It would make sense that Kane can hold these out exits a lot better than Robbie Gordon, considering their backgrounds. Kane comes from dirt. Robbie Gordon comes from open wheel.
Junior with a run from 3rd. The top 3 way out in front of everybody else. Junior's going to try to go to the bottom for P2 on Kane. Side by side, Junior makes quick work of the 12 with clean track to the 31. Harvick and Kennington closing in fast from 4th and 5th place. 5 to go for Miami. Down the back stretch as we go single file now. No battles for position yet. Junior trying to close in on Robbie Gordon for the lead. Kane lurking from P3. Harvick not too far out of it in 4th, but Kennington's trying to get around his teammate. Big struggle there. Harvick got real loose in the middle of 3 and 4, so those two battle for 4th place. Bumper to bumper to bumper between the top 3 as we continue to duel up front. Junior a bit of a struggle out of turn 2. Kane might have a chance to retake 2nd. Just gonna try and sneak the nose under. Can he hold it there? He did. Both of them better out of turn 4 than Gordon. Down the front stretch and towards turn number 1. Kane on the bottom, Junior on the top. 12 runs him way up the racetrack. Trying to take the spot away. Both of them dead even down the back. Kane moves into 2nd. Trying to make one final charge at this 31. But struggled out of turn 4 that time. Junior back to the bottom. 2 laps to go for Robbie Gordon, who is beginning to pull away. Kane cleared on the top going into turn 1. Might have another shot at that 31 if he can close this gap. Lap and a half to go down the backstretch. Kane rifling back to the back bumper of this 31. Does he have anything for Robbie Gordon? The 2 pull away from Junior. Last lap at Homestead. Kane's got a run out of turn 2, trying to stay with him. Can he make it happen? Going into turn 3 and 4 for the final time. Gordon holds him off. Can Kane find a gap on the bottom? The run to the checkered flag out of turn 4. Kane's not gonna get there. Defending champion Robbie Gordon right back to victory lane. His first of 2007 as he holds off the 12 to win it. Kane comes up just short in second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishes third. Kevin Harvick in P4. And DJ Kennington rounds out your top 5. An exciting finish down to the wire, but Kane just did not have enough to pull side by side with that 31 car for the win.
A valiant effort by the 12.
Absolutely. So close between these guys. But Robbie Gordon, winner of race number 2 of this season, his first win right away here in Miami as he goes right back to victory lane. The defending champion finishes first here today. And Kane honestly thought that he might have a shot to get underneath that 31. In fact, did get underneath him a couple of laps prior to that. It was so close between these guys. Thought Kane was going to have the lead there, but Robbie Gordon just powered around the outside to hold on to it, and that was the difference maker to bring that 31 back to victory lane here tonight. But that'll do it for coverage here from Miami as Robbie Gordon, your race winner here from Homestead. Tight battle all the way to the end, but the 31 holds on to first. Next time, it'll be race number 3. We take you to Rockingham for the Subway 400. Always a fun one to watch at Rockingham. But we will see you then. On behalf of Braden joining me in the booth here tonight, I'm your host, Caden Wright. Been a pleasure to have you along, and we'll see you next time. And as always, have yourself a good one.